Tonight's true story reminds me of the classic Appalachian ghost stories that I grew up on. It was submitted by Denise Smith. She has a blog and a channel called Appalachian Heartwood. I highly recommend you guys check out both. But I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. It's called The Haunted Rocking Chair. Grandpa Burris used to work for the city of Bluefield, West Virginia. He was a blacksmith by trade and made sure metal tools were kept sharp or made items they needed by welding, etc. He said one day he was delivering a couple of tools to some fellers working on some city street project and passed by a house where he noticed that someone had put out in the garbage a perfectly good rocking chair to be picked up. He delivered the tools and on the way back stopped and knocked on the door of the house to ask about the rocker in the trash. A man answered the door and Grandpa said if they minded if he took the chair home with him. The man told him he could take the infernal thing anywhere he wanted and slammed the door. Grandpa thought the whole thing odd, but it was a good chair. So Grandpa loaded the chair in the back of the truck and brought it home to Grandma. It was a fine old rocking chair. Grandma, he said, was pleased as punch with it, and she placed it next to a window in the sitting room of the small house where she could sit and look out while working on sewing or just to rest. She sat down in it, and it had a good, comfortable seat, and when you rocked, it would creak ever so slightly, as old rockers do. But Grandma said she noticed right off the bat that something was wrong with that chair. She said when you sat in it, you felt cold, and it didn't matter if you moved it close to the coal stove or not. You could wrap yourself up in a blanket, and you still felt cold. Well, problems started off the first night. They went to bed, and in the middle of the night, heard the old rocking chair creak like someone was rocking in it. Grandpa got up to investigate, and as soon as he turned on the light, the noise would stop. Several times they woke up to the rocking sound, and by morning he said he was plumb wore out with that rocking chair. The next morning, when they looked, then the rocker had been moved. Rockers that are that old will sometimes walk when you rock them from the rockers being uneven, and that is what that chair had done during the night with no one in it. Grandma said she was beside herself a bit with a little fear, but it was a real good chair and they thought they had imagined it all. But every night for several days the same thing happened. Every night they heard the chair creak like someone was rocking in it, and every morning it had walked to a new place in front of the window. Grandpa said that in the mountains, if you had a ghost haunting something, you needed to put new on it to get it to stop. If it was made of wood, put new wood on it. If it was metal, put new metal on it. He went out and cut a small piece of a hemlock tree limb, debarked it, and shaved it down with his pocket knife. He went to nail it on the bottom of the chair seat, and he said he had the worst time getting the nail to attach that piece of wood onto the chair. He said the wood was so hard it bent the nails. He finally attached it. However, it wasn't as tight as he wanted it to be. That night they went to bed. In the middle of the night they heard a pop and the sound of that hemlock stick hitting the wall, and the rocker went to creaking again. They turned on the light, the rocking stopped, and there was the piece of wood next to the wall all the way across the room. Next day the old rocker was out in the trash, Grandma said, even if it was a fine old rocking chair. That's been Jay's Haunted Appalachia tonight. Thank you for Denise for letting me tell your story. I hope all y'all had a good Mother's Day, and keep sending me those stories and suggestions, y'all, and keep Appalachia haunted, y'all.